Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Aries. If Aries is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. Okay, let's get started. And so our card for tonight is the Empress. Okay, let's see what these tea leaves have to say. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next videos are coming out. Okay. And so, as I pulled this card, which I do right before the reading, what came to mind immediately, gosh, these are beautiful formations. What came to mind, the song from the Rolling Stones, Ruby Tuesday, I just could hear it in my head. It was one of my favorite songs when I was a teenager. I would play it over and over and over. And it does. It gives me Empress vibes, kind of. And let's start here. We have a person. You can see the kind of head right here. And they're like maybe a cape, maybe a dress. They have a W, it looks like. Maybe somebody with a W name. And they're holding a little doll. Okay, and on their head is a bird. And now I think it's a rooster. You can see the tail and kind of the chest and the body up here, the head there. And I'm seeing a heart. And this one looks like it kind of looks like the Omega, but not really. It almost looks like the beginning of the caduceus. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, this is a beautiful image. It makes me think of it makes me think of a child playing with their doll. But also this feeling of maybe really being drawn back into your childhood, where there have been difficulties, and you've seen yourself through those. You've really worked hard to get through them. I think that, in kind of your retreat, or it's not even necessarily retreat, but just going back into yourself, into your home, into your temple, into your sacred and private space, I can imagine you really kind of looking for things that make you feel as you did when you were younger. If that means like maybe watching old movies, reading books that you liked when you were young, kind of bringing out your, mementos and spending time doing things that kind of help you let go of the stressors of being an adult. Maybe finding a hobby or one thing that comes to mind. I know people that really are into going back and getting all their old video games they had when they were young, and playing those. The one that I think of is I had a friend recently that got the GoldenEye video game, and I remember playing that when I was a kid all the time. My family really liked it, and And so, sometimes we get into these places where we become quite nostalgic. But I think it's also, it is a sense of self-soothing. It is kind of even like we have these little anchors, all throughout our life. And these are things that we return to when we are feeling like we when we are feeling like we want to return to those really potent spaces of awe, wonder, love, feeling physically, healthier or out of pain. As we get older, we have a lot of pains. Can you remember back in the day when you didn't, groan every time you were moving around too much, or you didn't get headaches or as often, or you could just eat what you wanted and it didn't make you feel, sick or whatever. And so, that it makes sense that sometimes we would want to go back to those places. And now with the rooster, I feel like really there is a sense of great vitality coming through this work that you're doing, kind of swimming through your self-mythology, looking for these old artifacts, right? The things that we kind of, as our own little archaeologists, we dig out of our psyche and our past and bring forward so that we may indulge in them once again, even if just for a moment. Okay, and so I look up here and it's an O and a Z, so we have Oz. So there is a sense of going down a little bit of a rabbit hole, and I'm thinking of that Empress energy, I think when we think of the Empress, we have this beautiful, self-realized, self-made, actualized, self-embodied being who, is kind of, the mother of nature, right? All the flowers and spring and beauty and kind of a Persephone. And we know Persephone is a being who has known great terror, pain, traumas. And even in those difficult places, rose to be in a great position of power, and also, bringing back the cycle of spring, and then as she, leaves and descends, winter sets in and comes back, and all the flowers come to life, and so, I feel like in a lot of ways you are realizing in this time of your life how much you really do you decide, right? You are the creator of your universe. And, sometimes we get in our own way. Sometimes we decide against ourselves because that's familiar. We self-sabotage. We put ourselves down. We don't believe in ourselves because we've learned that. A lot of us have lived that way for a great deal of our lives. And we get into these places where we begin to see that there are other ways. We are powerful beings. We are knowing beings. We have wisdom. We have an ability to see, to manifest, to draw upon our, vast unconsciousness, our experience, and to create beauty for ourselves. But you have to start believing that you can. And that you will. And that you will. Now we have a little moose down here. And so, the moose for me is always like, okay, that's a power. This is powerful. The stature is, ginormous. There's a lot of bravery here. A lot of just the ability to move through things. You know, get through it. Get through it. And survive. And I look at this, we have a person holding a balloon. You can see maybe a dress and the body, and they're holding this little balloon. I see another person here who is holding a child. And this is kind of mirrored. We have a lot of things where it looks like they're holding something up. This one looks like a person, head, body, holding up a child. So I think, you know, as I'm looking at, I feel like there is a sense of maybe your children are grown. Maybe you will be having children soon. Maybe grandchildren. But there is a sense of this real bond to this youthful energy within yourself. But also I feel like maybe because we see so many of these formations, that this could also be your own child. And here I see it looks like a teddy bear. We have the head and the ears, and it looks like the body kind of sitting on their knees a little bit and holding a beautiful flower here. And I can almost see that we have maybe some little fairies. So I feel like really this is like a fairy tale. And I feel like this is maybe a place where I think it's been so important for you to create a different life for your children, for the children that are in your life. I think that you've really given so much of yourself for your family. I think that, you know, at times you felt like you maybe weren't doing the right things, or you're making the wrong choices. Maybe you felt at times that you weren't a good parent, or, you know, aunt or uncle or caretaker. But ultimately, I feel like you really have been a part of raising some amazing beings. And I feel like there is a sense of great love for you. I feel like you are somebody who people trust completely. I feel like you where you maybe lived a life, a childhood where there wasn't a lot of softness or gentleness. You created a space where, if you could imagine a very soft and serene, you know, kind of fairy tale, not the original ones where they're just like way creepy, but you know, kind of really like that soft core, what's it called, like cabin core a little bit maybe, like warm and fuzzy. And you know, I think that was important. You felt very important. That was a very important thing for you. You felt it was important for the children in your life to have this kind of, to extend their childhood as long as possible, right? To give them a sense of safety and sheltering, so that they could have that awe and wonder, and they could emerge from that in their own time. You know, they're not forced into it because of circumstance. And, you know, in a lot of ways, I look at this and I think, you know, you are a saint. To be able to give that kind of life to somebody, or somebody's, is truly, I mean, it is such an effort. You have to give so much of yourself, your time, your resources, you know, to allow this. And it seems like, oh, this should be easy. That's just, if we all lived, you know, in a default way, everything would be perfect and serene, and children would be children, and everybody would be safe. And, you know, ultimately, the universe is quite terrible sometimes. human nature is very close to that primal source. And the world can be hellish, and that has nothing to do, in my opinion, with just modern times. It's always been like that in one way or another, right? And so when we make a conscious decision to make a life for others, where they can have the privilege, and it's a privilege, to live in this way where they can, have that safety, the ability to dream, to really dream and be the things that they want to be. That is something quite special. And, I think through your journey of raising others, being that kind of safe keeper for others, you have learned to be that for yourself in so many ways. And so I think now you really are coming into your own kind of re-experiencing your inner child. Maybe, the kids are a little bit more grown up, or they've left already. You're having grandkids, or, whatever it is, but you have more time for yourself. And I feel like you are really coming into this place where, you're going to take care of yourself. You're going to give yourself that safe environment to dream, to imagine, to manifest, to create your own luck. You're not going to wait around for it. You're going to make it, right? And I feel like this will be quite a magical year for you. This might be the most magical year of your whole life. I don't know. Maybe just the beginning. All right. So we have a butterfly. We have a top. A spinny top. And it looks like a big bird going to a flower, getting pollen. So, butterfly growth, we know. Metamorphosis, becoming. The top, sometimes, right? A little topsy-turvy. Listen, Aries, you all are good at making a mess of things sometimes. And I say that with like the kindest heart. I am too. I am absolutely a mess. So we are kin in that way. But I think in that mess, in that kind of, really raging against a fixed state, just kind of being what it is in the moment. I feel like there is such a uniqueness in how you live your days, how your hours are spent. You are a dreamer. You are, maybe people think of you as kind of, what is that thing from the 90s? The manic pixie dream, a little bit. Very magical, right? And I say that, I don't mean that, it only applies to, if you identify as a woman or a man, or, many of the other things that you can. But there is that kind of Tinkerbell energy, right? And so, and also, yes, we have the bird and we have the pollen, and things are coming together. They're always coming together. But they're really, it feels so right now. I think you can really sit down and look at things and think, I did all of this. I did all of this against all odds. Maybe I started with nothing and now I have most of the things I've dreamt of. And if I've lost those, and sometimes we do, you know, sometimes we do. We have personal cataclysms in our life. And so you are beginning again. And you will stay the course. And you will dream a new life, and you will see it through. Because you're strong like that, Aries. Nobody can mess with it. Dang old Aries. You can't. Every Aries, especially women, I know Aries men are kind of really eccentric dreamers. Poets, musicians, and, you know, so on. But every Aries woman I've ever known has just been somebody that I couldn't help but absolutely look up to. And just think, I wish I had that thing, you know, that you all have. You just have that thing, that spark. So let's go ahead and do our affirmation card. These are from the Happier Me affirmation cards. I'm going to flip on through. We're going to stop right here. It says, the power to change my world lies within me. Perfect. If you concentrate on the negative, you will only see problems. If you concentrate on the positive, you will find solutions. The power lies in your thoughts. Don't sabotage yourself for something that hasn't yet happened. Yes, there you go. I like it. And this one just says, let's see, believe, receive, achieve. There we go. What about that? Believe, receive, achieve. Okay, Aries, I want to go ahead and say, I love you. Thank you for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor. And if you would be so kind as to like the video, it really does help the channel so much. If you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next videos are coming out. It is free to subscribe, and if you'd like to leave a comment, please do. I love hearing from you. I took the day off yesterday. I was just like worn down. After being sick and getting over it and just working through it and, you know, whatever. I needed a little bit of a day. And so I returned to my to my channel. There's not very many comments, so I'm really looking forward for these ones to come out. And so I'll have a few comments to read, and I love hearing from you all and catching up with you. And yeah, so I love you. We'll talk very soon, just a few days, and take care of yourself.